All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? We're back. Friday edition of the MLB Witching Hour. It's not Modelo season, sorry to break it to you, but we got the normal crew on here. I was going to be headed up to the cottage, staying back to bring the final regular season show, MLB show, Witching Hour show, to the people here. We got money to be made tonight. 13-game slate on our hand. We got Coors Field. We got the Chalk Yankees. We got the Chalk Twins. We'll talk about both of those. Interesting slate here. Not really too many spend-up pitchers that people want to go to. Seems like a pretty value pitcher slate. Spend up at the Braves. Spend up at all the Twins and the Yankees is basically how the slate's looking right now from a grand scheme overview. If you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you joining us all season long for these MLB shows. It's been a pleasure. We're still going to bring you content throughout the playoffs here. Not sure what the show schedule is going to look like, but I do know this is the last final regular season show here. It's been an incredible year. Hamwich, it's been a pleasure doing MLB shows all season long with you. We're not done. We still got more MLB. We got playoffs. We got October baseball. It's going to be a blast. How you doing, man? Happy Friday.
Yeah, no, happy Friday. It has been a blast. It's been great. All the people in the chat we see out there, seems like it's every day. So let's do something for the people. Let's get those likes up, and old Ham will give out some some week-long memberships if you're not a member or something like that. Let's shoot for 100 likes, Nades, and then we'll start giving out some free weeks courtesy of Ham. But I appreciate all the support. It's been killer over here at SHIPIT Nation. In baseball, NFL now, Hebrew Cheetah and Tambo just crushing it last night. We had another member winning as well. So yeah, appreciate all the support. Thanks for everybody in the chat. And yeah, we're not done yet. Just getting started.
Yeah, as you say, another member winning. We showed this a couple of times, but just happened earlier this week, right? 50K, 6 lineups into 50K. I think it's 50K up top tonight again. Would be nice to see another SHIPIT Nation logo up at the top of that leaderboard there. We're going to try and bring you the winners. Our guy Ran, founding family member, been with us since the start of SHIPIT Nation. Believed in us, believed in our content, believed in our tools like many others have in the chat, in the Discord, in the YouTube chat as well. We appreciate y'all. It's been a fun season so far, and the best is yet to come here with NFL, NBA, NHL, everything else continue to going, and October baseball. I see some comments in the chat saying, imagine playing October baseball. Well, playoffs is some of the most profitable time to play baseball. When you talk about game theory, you talk about different things like that, the showdown, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, a lot of money to be made. Say hi to a couple people in chat here. We got Brian England in chat, Tweezy, Toga, Sean V, our guy Sean V, always in here. Sean V knows about those Chalk Yankees. Let me tell you what, we'll break it doon for you, Sean. Butthole. What's going on, y'all? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you guys are not a member yet, $19 5-week. And if we do get to 100 likes, courtesy of Hamwich, he's gonna sponsor a couple of these here for some members here to check our stuff out, check our tools out, get a little peek behind the paywall there. Obviously, you don't get the Discord chat, but you get all of our other content. It's going to cover you for this week in NFL as well and Monday night. The Ryder Cup contest, showdown contest, stuff like that. So head over there, check this out if you are not a member yet. But let's go ahead and jump right in. How much here? Let's talk pitching like we always talk. Let's go 8K and above. We got quite a few guys here. I'm going to throw out a couple names, some of the higher owned guys. Kikuchi, I'm not going to be high owned by any means. I'm not seeing really anyone in this range over 10 to 12% ownership up at this top tier. Pretty much seems like a lot of people are just living in that 7K range, a little cheaper range. So pretty much anyone you play up here, if you have a lean on, going to be pretty low owned. Kikuchi, I think, has a very, very nice matchup here. The pitch count concerns and the injury. I think he was pulled after 73 pitches. His last start was cruising. He's been pitching very well. I have a little interest in Kikuchi. The pitch count concerns is there. So hit on him if you have any interest. Alan Winans in here. Lance Lynn in that game, late night hammer game out there in San Fran against those Giants who are pretty woeful. And Nathan Eovaldi stretched out to like 85, 90 pitches now. Hasn't been good. His strikeout's sitting right around 20%. He's got 13, 14% walk rate since he's returned. he's got a good matchup here against Seattle, at Seattle here. Hit on him, and then anyone else up in this top tier that you have interest in.
Yeah, I'm actually going to start where you normally wouldn't start with a favorite pitcher, but my favorite pitcher is going to be Joe Ryan, taking on these Colorado Rockies in Coors Field tonight. Really like him. He's striking out over 30% from both sides of the plate. The Rockies, this lineup that they're rolling out, projected lineup, striking out around 23% at home versus right-handed pitching. Joe Ryan, going to be my favorite pitcher up in this range tonight. We don't have anybody over 10K, which normally you'll have several people over 10K, but everybody's under 10K. But Joe Ryan is my SP1, 9K on DraftKings, coming off a 27-point performance. I really like him. Number 2 for me in this slate, in this range anyway, 8K and above, would be Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn strikeouts are down where we want them to be, but gets to take on the San Francisco Giants team, gets a good ballpark upgrade there in San Francisco, only 8,600. I do like him as my number 2 pitcher in this range. And then number 3 for me, just simply based on the price, a tough matchup, but it is going to be Zach Gallen. He's only 9,700, which this is the cheapest we've seen Zach Gallen in well over a month, coming off a 30-point performance against the Yankees. So Zach Gallen would be number 3 for me. Really like him tonight as a contrarian piece in a GPP type tournament. I know you have interest in Kikuchi, and you'll touch on Eovaldi as well, so go ahead.
Yeah, Eovaldi. I think this is a spot where you can take a chance at him, right? We know the pitcher Eovaldi was before the injury, and looking at the Seattle lineup over the last 30 days against right-handed pitching, all the top 8 hitters. I mean, you got 3 hitters over 33% in terms of strikeouts. The other 7 guys in there, sitting right around 22 to 25% K rate. As a team, 27% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching over the last month. And Eovaldi is definitely been better against righties. Going to see a decent amount of righties here. There's some lefties in here that could get to him here in his walks, but I'm hoping that he can round into form. He's going to be pretty low owned in this tier and could come out and just dust the slate. Ranks really well in our metrics over here. So if I am spending up, I have a little interest in him. There is some concerns with the walks, with the lower strikeouts to the lefties. I'd like to see that confirmed lineup for Seattle. I don't see it out yet. If all those lefties are confirmed in there, definitely drops him down a little bit because he does struggle sitting over the last month or so since he's returned. About a 13.5% strikeout rate and about a 13.5% walk rate as well to lefties. So some of those guys, we could find some value guys there like Jared Kelenic, Mike Ford, Rojas, Crawford, some of those guys, Cal Raleigh, obviously in there when we talk on bats once we see that lineup. But do think he's fine. Kikuchi, I have a little interest in. It's just a matchup for me. Looking at this Tampa lineup, just not very good at all. I mean, they're kind of punching it in. I mean, you got Junior Caminero in there. There's Basabia guy, Pinto. Randy Arozarena in there, but Harold Ramirez hitting second, Curtis Mead hitting third. I do think Kikuchi can definitely get some strikeouts here. You know what you're getting with Kikuchi. He's either going to get blown up or he's going to go out there and strike 7-8 guys out, right? And that's what you want in DFS. I think he's fine. And I actually have a little interest on the other side in that same game there with Aaron Savale. Savale, been pretty solid, ranks pretty decent here. Toronto, I mean, looking at this lineup, got Kevin Kiermaier in there, Dalton Varsho. These guys, I think there's some strikeouts in there. And just at 8K, I mean, it's just the nature of the slate. So I have a little interest in him. And then the other guy for me is Lance Lynn. You hit on hit. I just don't think San Fran's any good there. And I like the Dodgers bats a decent amount here against Keaton Winn and the rest of that bullpen behind him. So I think he should have some run support. So I do think Lance Lynn is interesting. So really, I don't want to mess with Joe Ryan. I get the point. Right, I've played pitchers the last couple of days against Rockies here in Coors Field. But this lineup that the Rockies rolled out, just a 23% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching here. Could Joe Ryan go in there and crush him? Yeah, he could. He's a good pitcher, but I'm going to take my chances. He is 9K. I want to spend up for bats. The Dodgers I already talked about. The Braves I talked about. So I'm going to be a little under on Joe Ryan there. So just those 3 guys pretty much for me up in this top tier. Sit on the rest of the slate. Want to throw out a couple names here for you. Touch on Pivetta. Pivetta seems to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate, projected right now. Boston at Baltimore there gets that matchup. And then his counterpart on the other side of that game in the mound there, John Means. Both of those guys going to be the 2 chalkiest pitchers on the slate. followed closely by Carlos Rodon, which is definitely interesting there in Kansas City. Yankees, obviously one of the chalkiest teams, if not the chalkiest team on the slate, facing Jordan Lyles in Kauffman Stadium. Temperature is about 80, 85 degrees. Wind blowing slightly out, kind of across the field, out to left field a little bit. He's going to pick up some ownership. And then Chase Silseth seems to be the cheap guy that people want to go to down there, gets that matchup against Oakland. So hit on those three, and then any of these lower owned guys down in the lower tier.
Yeah, Chase Silseth had a few good starts there right in the middle of the summer with high strikeout games. I do think he'll be popular taking on this Oakland team tonight. That's a great matchup. The guy that I'm going to have some interest in down here, just to be contrarian, is going to be Jordan Lyles. I know that sounds gross, and you probably don't like it, Nades, but I'm willing to pick on this Yankees team. Jordan Lyles has been better over his last 2 or 3 starts. Gets to take on a Yankees team that really has nothing to play for at this point in the season. They went up north of the border earlier in this week, got absolutely annihilated when it comes. They didn't necessarily lose every game, but they didn't score a whole lot of runs outside of Aaron Judge. I think he had 2 or 3 home runs one game, but outside of that, they really struggled offensively. So give me Jordan Lyles. Like I said, been pitching good. I don't mind Chase Silseth, like I said. Nick Pivetta for me, I think I'm going to be out on Nick Pivetta. I do like these Orioles bats. The lefties profile well against Pivetta. Pivetta does have K upside, but I'm going to pass on him. I did not see him being chalk, but if you're saying he's going to be chalk, that's an easy pass for me, just because I'm not going to pick on the Orioles. And then no Carlos Rodon for me. I mean, the chat's been all over it. Too many fly balls. He hasn't been a good pitcher this year, so no Carlos Rodon for me. So down here in this lower tier range, it would only be Jordan Lyles or Chase Silseth to pair with one of those pitchers, 8K and above.
Yeah, I'll hit on that game right there in Baltimore, right between the Red Sox and the Orioles. I definitely prefer Means just because I like targeting this Red Sox team outside of Fenway. I mean, this lineup that's confirmed 28% strikeout rate against lefties. I always play lefties against this Red Sox team. John Means doesn't have a great strikeout rate by any means. Little play on words there, but 7,400 against a team that strikes out about 28%. I mean, you got Bobby Dahlbeck, 44% strikeout rate. Trevor Story striking out at 40%. Adam Duvall at 37%. Connor Wong at 37%. Even their 2 guys, Rafaela and Devers up at the top, both of those guys over 25% strikeouts against lefties. And looking at the weather in Baltimore there, temperatures in the low 60s, 9 to 10 mile an hour winds blowing in. So I think that's why you're seeing people go to that game for pitching. If I had to pick one of them, it would definitely be John Means, because Pivetta gets hit pretty hard. I get it. He's got a good strikeout rate, but overall, this lineup for the Orioles just doesn't strike out at top. I mean, the top 4 guys all strike out right around 20% or under. And then you got the back half of the lineup. Really, the only guys in this lineup that have a lot of strikeout potential is Heston Kjerstad, right? Because of the limited sample size, he's still young. And then Urias and Mateo at the back half. The other 6 guys in that lineup just don't have a lot of strikeouts there. And Pivetta is going to be chalk. I think I'll be under on Pivetta here personally. Prefer the John Means side of that game. And then I do have interest as well with you in Jordan Lyles. I played Aaron Judge the other night against Barrios as a one-off in my secondary core in the Discord. That was nice to see. You can always Aaron Judge one-off every slate, but looking at these Yankees, man, 27% strikeout rate over the last 30 days to right-handed pitching. I mean, you got some guys, Stanton striking out around 40%, Pereira 37%, a couple other guys right around 30%. I mean, it's a little double leverage situation as well, right? Jordan Lyles just 5,300. I mean, cheaper than a lot of these bats on the slate. He's been pitching well. I like the Kansas City bats a little against Chalky Rodon. And you get the leverage off the Yankees bats, which everyone kind of blindly stacks against Jordan Lyles here. He's just 5,300. If he can go out there and pick up 4, 5 strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, I think he's definitely pays off his salary, and you'll need him. So I do have interest in him. Just hard to argue with the matchup at 5,300. It's pretty gross that we're recommending Jordan Lyles, but he's going to be sub 5% owned. Everyone wants to play the Yankees bats. You get double leverage. I think it's a fine play there. Silseth, I saw it in the chat. I'd like to see his rehab starts be going a little longer. And he is going to be 20 to 25% owned here against Oakland. He's 6,900. He's not like super cheap. I think I'd rather just punt with a guy like Jordan Lyles, right? Who, the strikeouts are going to be there, or at least the matchup is going to be there. Oakland can get a little pesky. I get it if you want to go there. Silseth on the year, 26% strikeout rate against a team like Oakland, right, where the top half of that lineup, all 25% to 30% strikeout rates. I think he's fine. I definitely prefer Jordan Lyles just for the salary savings. I'm out on Carlos Rodon for sure. I'm not playing any Rodon. So, I mean, pitching for me is pretty it's pretty condensed. Go ahead and rank your top 4, and then we'll go game by game.
Yeah, top 4 real quick before we do. Make sure you're hitting that like button. We're going to give away a couple weeks worth of memberships over at SHIPIT Nation once we get to 100 likes. So make sure, Nades, if you could monitor that. I can't see it on my screen, but if you could let us know. Number 1 for me, pretty easy. Like I said, Joe Ryan's going to be my SP1 on the slate. Number 2 for me, I'm sticking with Lance Lynn. Number 3 is going to be Zach Gallen. And I was on the fence for 4 Nades, but you talked me into it. I'm rolling Jordan Lyles as my 4th pitcher on DK.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. I'm going to go it's tough for me. I'm going to go Savali and Kikuchi in the top 4. Both of those, I like both those pitchers in that game a little bit there. Not many going to go to them for ownership. I'm going to go to Lance Lynn as well. I like Lance Lynn a little bit here. And then I'm going to go Jordan Lyles as the punt guy, 5,300. I think he can get strikeouts. And if he gets us 12 to 14 DraftKings points at that price point, you're happy with that. Typically at a batter, and he's just 5,300, which is basically some of these high-priced outfielders, right? Like the JD Martinez, those guys, he's the same price, and he's going to have strikeout upside in this matchup here. So those are my 4. Pretty gross pitching slate overall. Everyone's kind of not a ton of condensed chalk, really, outside of Rodon and Pivetta, and then John Means a little bit there too. So getting a little different there. We'll talk on bats. Again, if you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're at 43 likes right now. Hamwich is going to give away some memberships to get to any non-members over here to try out our tools, try out our projections, content, everything for NFL, all the other sports behind the paywall, and give you a look at that. Game by game, first game on the slate I'm looking at here is the Red Sox and the Orioles. Both of these pitchers going to get a little ownership here. I see the chat talking about Rafi Devers, his numbers in Camden. Any interest in Devers there, but overall not great hitting environment. Low 60s, double-digit wind, 9 to 10 mile an hour wind blowing in is what I'm looking at. Pretty much a pass spot for me for bats, but any interest?
Yeah, you kind of sold me on John Means too. Got to looking at those Red Sox, and they struggle on the road against lefties. So Devers would be the only Red Sox that I would play as a one-off. Sean V is stroking Rafi pretty good. Say he's going to hit one to the moon, I think. So Rafael Devers would be the only Red Sox for me. And then I do have some interest in these lefties for the Orioles. I like them, especially if Pavetta's going to be chalk, get some double leverage on it that way. Gunnar Henderson, the normal cast of characters, Ryan O'Hearn, Santander. All the lefties for the Orioles I don't have a problem with.
Yeah, looking at lefties do hit Pivetta pretty hard, right? 364, 357 ISO, fly ball rate, almost right around 30%. Ground ball, pretty low ground ball, 30%, 33% ground balls to lefties. So it would be the fly ball lefties for me personally, which Heston Kierstad, there's strikeout concern there, but he's super cheap. I think he's hitting 5th here in the outfield. He's got a 43% fly ball rate over the last month, hits the ball up in the air. Seti Mullins batting leadoff tonight. I think he's fine. He's a 32% fly ball guy. Adam Frazier, another fly ball guy, and then Adley Rushman, a fly ball guy there too. So, and you can always play Ryan O'Hearn too. He's been pretty good. So don't hate some of these lefties. They're going to be unowned. Everyone's Pivetta is projecting to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate as it stands right now. But yeah, Red Sox, just Rafi Devers. You can always play him. Don't love it, but hey, you can always be contrarian, kind of like playing Aaron Judge the other night against Berrios. And Berrios still did fine. You were still fine if you played Berrios, and then you were definitely fine and happy if you had that one off Aaron Judge with the double home run there. Next game on the slate, we have Toronto. We have the Rays. I liked both pitchers in this one a little bit. I'm under on the bats on both sides, but I'm seeing the Blue Jays 4.5 implied run total just about against Savale. Not seeing a ton of ownership really going to either side of this game. So if you have interest, both sides are definitely going to be low owned in terms of bats. I'm out on the bats personally, but do you see something here I'm missing?
Yeah, no Blue Jays for me. I do have a little bit of interest in Yandy Diaz batting leadoff tonight for the Rays. Gets to face a lefty, and he's done pretty well against lefties on the road. Only a 15% strikeout rate. So give me Yandy Diaz as a one-off, and no Blue Jays for me on this slate.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about Yandy is he's first base, and I like Freddie Freeman. I like Matt Olson. I like the Kansas City guys, some of those other guys. So he's definitely going to be lower owned and guaranteed ninth inning at bats. He could potentially get 5 at bats here, right? Bat and lead off with guaranteed 9 innings. So don't hate it. But yeah, pretty much a fade spot for me in terms of bats. But definitely have interest in this next game. One of my favorite stacks of the board. Surprise, surprise. Last regular season game, and Nades is on here slobbering on these Braves. But, man, Braves are projected to be a third or fourth highest owned stack right now of the night. They've been hitting the baseball pretty well, and now get Trevor Williams here at home, who doesn't strike anyone out, gets hit pretty hard. I love these guys 1 through 9. They're implied to score right around 7 runs. Direct pivot right off of that high implied run total for the Twins. They are more expensive, but I didn't like pitching anyways on this slate, so I'm punting pitching. I'm going to spend up for these Braves and these Dodgers tonight. I love the Braves. National side for me is a pass, but any interest here? Where are you going?
Yeah, I do have tons of interest in CJ Abrams batting leadoff tonight. Really like him against Austin Hanson, so don't mind him. And then I really like obviously the Braves. I think you got to play Forrest Wall if you're going to play the Braves. Batting ninth tonight, doesn't really play that often, but if he gets on the base pass, it's almost a lot for him to steal. And at 2,300, he just allows so many other things to happen. It looks like we got the Braves JV lineup going tonight, but hey, that JV lineup could be a lot of these teams. So give me Forrest Wall batting ninth if you're stacking the Braves, and then give me CJ Abrams. I really like CJ tonight. Full 27 out, so he should bat 4, maybe 5 times if he gets hot. But yeah, love the Braves, and I love CJ Abrams.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I don't know what kind of JV lineup you're looking at, but outside of Nicky Lopez, I mean, even Forrest Wall, all these guys have ISOs north of 230, 250, almost 300 ISO on the season against right-handed pitching. So Forrest Wall, power speed, I think he hit a home run the other day when he was in there. He's just 2,300 at the outfield. I absolutely love him. You can wrap it around to the top. Acuna, Albies, Riley, Matt Olson, Ozuna, Rosario, TDA. I love TDA back in that lineup, 4,300 at the catcher position. These Braves are going to get ownership, but I'm not seeing a mega chalk here. Obviously, when you have Coors Field, that definitely helps. And when you have the Yankees with a 5.5 implied run total against Jordan Lyles in Coors Field 2.0, right, in Kauffman Stadium out there in Kansas City, going to keep some ownership down on these guys. So I love the Braves here tonight. 1 through 9 firmly in play. Nicky Lopez is definitely my least favorite, but all the other 8 guys I absolutely love on this slate.
JV roster, man. TDA, Nicky Lopez, Forrest Wall. That's about as JV as it gets, Nate. Come on now. They wouldn't even start for your Brewers. They couldn't even start for your Brewers.
I would guarantee you TDA would be starting for the Brewers as a DH. I will guarantee you that. I mean, the guy's got a 283 expected ISO on the year against right-handed pitching. I'll take TDA any day of the week and twice on Fridays. So, yeah. I'm not calling that a JV roster. That just speaks volume to how well these Braves are and how good and deep they are, right? Hamwich is calling them a JV roster, and the team has a expected ISO of 240 and a strikeout rate under 20%.
Hey, they're my squad. They're my squad. I can talk trash about the Braves. They're my team.
Right. What a tough team to root for there. You got tough. Poor Hamwich rooting for the Braves as his favorite team. Surprise, surprise. Next game here, we have the Padres heading into Chicago. Padres 4.7 implied run total. White Sox sitting right around 4. Dylan Cease on the mound. Nick Martinez is going to open here for the Padres. Don't think he's going to throw very long here. Just let me pull up the weather real quick. In Chicago, I'm seeing some wind blowing in. About 6 miles an hour, so not crazy. Temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s. So not terrible hitting conditions for this time of the year. Padres think are a little interested in the big guys. Obviously, Juan Soto, that's centered around is where my interest is on the Padres. But where are you going in this one?
Yep, you nailed it. Juan Soto would be the only Padre for me, and then I'll stop playing these White Sox when Tim Anderson was leading off. So that started in about May. So give me Juan Soto as a one-off and no White Sox for me.
Yeah, I don't think some of these Padres are terrible as a mini stack. Really only a mini stack for me. Xander Bogaerts has been locked in at the plate. I think he's a great shortstop play. Pair him with Juan Soto. You have a little mini stack. You can always play Tatis or Machado. Pretty much those are the only 4 that I have interest in. So typically leads me to a 2 or 3-man stack only of these Padres. Just don't want to play too many of these other guys. Garrett Cooper, I guess, would be fine as a value first baseman, 3,300 if you need to, if you want to 5-stack these. And then I always bring up Trent Grisham. He's sub 3K. hits righties pretty well, has some stolen base upside. So a little wraparound stack would be my preferred if you're 5-manning them. Add in Trent Grisham, wrap it around to the top, Bogarts, Soto, Machado, Garrett Cooper, something like that. You kind of spread it out a little bit. It would be my interest, but not a ton of interest overall in that game. Next game, we have the Cubs headed into Milwaukee here. Brewers already clinched up the division. These Cubs might be playing a little. They might be a little hungry for some blood, right? Brewers edged them out for the division there. Terrible division overall in baseball, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take it any way we can get it as a Milwaukee fan. We don't have the luxury of cheering for the Braves and having the JV roster out there like you mentioned. So Cubs might be playing a little hungry here. The only issue is their price points are very, very expensive. Colin Ray's actually been pretty solid. Overall, I tried to pick on Colin Ray quite a bit this year. Hasn't worked out very well. So overall, kind of under on this game in terms of bats. Brewers really don't have anything to play for, but I mean, they're going to still going out there. The ball's thrown at them. They're still going to hit the baseball or try to at least. Willie Adames, Josh Donaldson, if they're in there. Garrett Mitchell looks to be back tonight. I think is at least he's projected to be in the lineup. Coming off that injury there, they're going to need him to get it going right in the playoffs. He's a big piece. Was crushing the baseball early in the year before that injury. Christian Yelich looks like the Brewers' main lineup that they're going to be rolling out. At least projected. We could see some crazy stuff happen, right? With only 2 games left for them, but not a ton of interest overall, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I cored the Cubs last night against the Braves, just thinking they're literally in a must-win situation with 3 games left, and they're I think a half a game out of the playoffs currently. So they're going to be throwing everything at the kitchen sink trying to win this game. I like the Cubs. Especially you said it. I mean, the Brewers, they want to win. They're professionals. I get all that, but they're not as hungry, in my opinion, as these Cubs will be. Give me Ian Happ batting in the 3-hole typically. Cody Bellinger. I saw some slander on Lieutenant Dansby Swanson. I really like Happ, Bellinger, and Swanson tonight to lead the way for the Cubs. And then no Brewers for me. I mean, Kyle Hendricks, just I feel like he gets like 900 ground balls every game, and he's just tough to beat up. So no Brewers for me tonight.
Yeah, I would like these lefties because Colin Ray has been getting hit pretty hard by lefties. I mean, ISO over 300, 310 over the last month. Fly ball rate right around 40%. Ian Happ, definitely my favorite bat by far. I mean, he's a 35% fly ball hitter, smashes righties, and Cody Bellinger. So pretty much those 2 for me, mini stack. The other 2 guys, Mastroboni down there and Talkman, I mean, they're sub 20% fly ball guys, so they just don't hit the ball in the air very much where Colin Ray struggles. So don't really love those guys much, but I love the mini stack there, 3-4 stack in Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger. They're a little pricey, 5,800, 4,400, but should be on their own, guaranteed ninth inning at bats here. And like you said, they're hungry. They still need to win to improve their chances here. So give me the Cubs. Brewers are pretty much a fade for me. Just really have no desire to kind of go out there. They might be going through the motions here. But it is the rival, right? The arch rival there in Chicago. So could see that. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about Jordan Lyles here on the hill for the Royals. We have a little interest at his price point and the matchup, but these Yankees seem to be the second highest owned stack behind the Twins in Coors Field. The Yankees implied to score 5.2. They look like they have their main lineup in here. Aaron Judge, right? Obviously in there. Austin Wells. Giancarlo Stanton is just 3,900. Just 3,900 for Stanton. I saw some people making a comment in there. DraftKings must have been drunk when they put the pricing out there. But looking at the numbers, Stanton, 37% strikeout rate against righties on the year. We know what Stanton is. It's a home run or bust kind of home run or strikeout against righties. So any interest in these Yankees? I know you talked on Jordan Lyles. My actually interest in this game mainly and pretty much only is on the Royals side. I actually like some of these Royals against Carlos Rodon here. I've stacked against this guy quite a bit. I get it. He's been pretty good his last 3 starts, but his last start, he still gave up 3 runs, 3 home runs or 2 home runs, something like that. I think these Royals can get the job done here a little bit. They have nothing to lose, right? They're going to go out there and swing the bat. What's better than beat New York when New York comes to town to end the season, right? So I have a little interest in the Royals. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, it's like anytime you play the Yankees, they're going to have tons of fans there in Kansas City. But it's always Team Super Bowl to beat them. So Royals, definitely like them. Looks like they're trotting out 8 righties. Your boy Nelson Velasquez profiles very well. Really all the Royals, which is crazy as that sounds, because the only lefty, Kyle Isbell, batting 9th. Theoretically, if they beat up Rodon, he's not going to last too long, and Isbell only see him once. So definitely have some interest in those Royals. And then Aaron Judge, I mean, he's tough. He's tough versus anybody, so don't mind him at all. But I would only play them as a one-off. This Yankees team has just been a disaster, really. And Giancarlo Stanton, wow, how he's fallen off tremendously. You said it, 3,900 for him. No thank you, and anybody else but Aaron Judge when it comes to the Yankees.
Yeah, I will throw one other guy in there for the Yankees, and that's Austin Wells, 2,900. Pretty stud prospect catcher. He's just 2,900 with power at a catcher position that's sub 3K. So don't hate that, $900 over min price there. And then Aaron Judge, pretty much my only interest in the Yankees side. If Lyles, can get past those two, I think he's going to have a good game here at his price point. And then on the Royals side, for me, it's the fly ball guys. We know what Carlos Rodon is. Gives up a ton of fly balls to righties, 43%, and a ton of power, 230 ISO. Fly ball guys, Nelson Velasquez, I mean, he's almost 50% fly ball hitter on the season against lefties. So love him. Bobby Witt, love him. Salvi Perez, love him. Olivares, love him. Lofton's a cheap guy you can throw in there. He's a decent fly ball guy. Michael Garcia, love him. Pretty much don't have a ton of interest in Porter, Isbell, or Matt Duffy, but the other 6 for sure. I love those guys. And Royals going to go unowned. They are still implied to score 4.4, which is pretty decent here in terms of Vegas when you look at how Rodon's been pitching. But Rodon gives up home runs, and that's what we're chasing. And these Royals are super, super cheap outside of Bobby Witt. So give me these Royals here as a sneaky stack. My favorites, Nelson Velasquez, number 1. Olivares, 2. Bobby Witt, 3 probably. And then Salvi would be 4, just as that 4,300 catcher spot is pretty cheap for Perez and his home run upside. We got to talk about it. It's the game everybody wants to talk about here. It's Coors Field, but it is the Minnesota Twins, which they're starting a lefty on the mind here in Ty Blach. And you know what happens with these Twins, right? They have 9 right-handed hitters projected to start this game, and they have very, very, very good lefties off the bench, right, that can come in, and you could see 1 or 2 at bats best out of some of these guys. So definitely a concern there with these Twins. One thing that is going for you is the Twins already have clinched, so maybe they're a little bit lighter on pinch hitting, but when you see a lefty starting against these Twins, it's definitely scary. So you do have to bring up the pinch hit concerns with Minnesota. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, excellent point, Nades. And just looking at the standings, the Twins, it looks like have literally nothing to play for. They've clinched their division. They can't get up to the 2 seed. They've clinched the division, so obviously nobody can catch them. Nothing to play for, so that may make me rethink Joe Ryan. You can certainly check out my core once I get over to it on SHIPIT Nation. So, and then you said it. I'm not playing these Twins tonight. I think a lot of people will, rightfully so, in Coors versus Ty Blach, who we've picked on all season. But they will start pitch hitting, in my opinion, very early, very often. Outside of the lefties already in the lineup, and I haven't seen a confirmed lineup, the Max Keplers of the world, Jorge Polanco, who's obviously a switch hitter. I would not play anybody other than a switch hitter or a lefty tonight for the Twins. And then no Rockies for me. This team is abysmal. I understand they scored 15 runs last night. They're still abysmal. I do have some interest in Joe Ryan, even though I don't think he might not go more than 6 innings.
Yeah, I will. I do have a little interest in Willie Castro, Kyle Farmer. Kyle Farmer is pretty much an everyday starter, even against a righty there. Same thing with Ryan Jeffers there. But Solano's going to pick up a ton of ownership, batting leadoff at just 3,400. Dual position eligibility is going to boost his ownership as well. And you could see him get pinch hit for literally in the 3rd inning.
Yes.
He could get pinch hit for, and
he's going to be last time.
He's probably going to be 25 to 30% owned here because you can play him at first base or third base. I would, if I'm playing him, which I'm not going to because of the pinch hit concern, I would definitely play him at third base and play Kyle Farmer at the shortstop position. But, I mean, Carlos Correa is probably safe from pinch hitting. Ryan Jeffers, Willie Castro, Kyle Farmer, those 4 are probably my favorites. Really not a ton of interest in these guys. Luplo is going to get pinch hit for, likely. Michael Taylor. I'm just not going to sign up for these chalky Twins who haven't actually been that great against left-handed pitching. I saw that comment in the chat as well. I mean, Vasquez has been terrible against lefties. Taylor's been terrible against lefties. Luplo's been terrible against lefties over the last month. Solano's been horrible against lefties over the last month. So when you combine the pinch hit concern, the ownership, I mean, they're projecting to be almost double to triple some of these teams in terms of projected ownership on the slate because they have been crushing the baseball as of late now, and now they're in Coors Field. So I'm definitely under on the Twins here. I'm under on Coors in general in this game. I think Joe Ryan's a good enough pitcher here, even if he's not going super long. I think you can still potentially play him at just 9K here, even if he goes 5 innings, right? And they don't push him because they need him in the playoffs. He can still strike out a lot of these Rockies, but couple Rockies guys, Sean Bouchard, just 2,600. I think he hit a home run last night or the night before. Would have some interest in him as a punt guy, 2,600. He's got good numbers against righties on the season, and he's sub 3K in Coors Field. Don't hate that. And then always can play Nolan Jones, Ryan McMahon. Only the 3 interests that I really have on the Rockies side personally, but overall pretty much underweight on Coors Field here.
Hey, how we doing on likes, Nate? So let's get up to 100 likes. How we doing?
I'm seeing 58 likes right now, so we're about 40 likes or so shy. So if you can hit that like button, go ahead and hit that. And I just see someone took their like away, so that's a little hurtful there. We'll try and we're trying the best we can here.
We faded Coors. They didn't like that. We faded Coors. So you know what? I'm taking.
We faded Coors, and we said play Jordan Lyles. I know, crazy freaking takes, but it's September 29th. With 2 regular season games left of the year, we can't just. We could come on here every day and just say play the chalk every night, and well, in baseball, you're probably going to lose more money than win because chalk fails more than any other sport, in my opinion, in baseball.
Just to remind the people, we get to 100 likes. Nades and I are going to pick out 2 members, 1 member each, to try us out for a week, $19.99 value if you're not a member already. Hey, if you are a member, we appreciate it. You know what? If we get to 100 likes and you're a member, we'll pay for 1 month of your service over here, SHIPITNation.com, courtesy of Ham, courtesy of Nades. Last one of the year. Let's go out with a bang, Nades. Let's get the people some more winners.
Let's do it. We got a couple games left.
I like this right here real quick, my boy Jetty, too. Can't be a chalk donkey into the season. That's right, Jetty. Let them know. Can't be a chalk donkey every single day. You won't make any money in MLB. Nades and I definitely aren't those chalk donkeys, so we certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, if chalk goes off in baseball, typically I'm going to lose, especially if chalk goes off September 29th, right? End of baseball season here when you got a lot of teams not playing for anything. I'll just take my chances personally. The Reds here. Let's talk about the Reds and the Cardinals. The Reds in St. Louis here. Let me just pull up the weather. Brandon Williamson on the mound. Jake Woodford on the mound. Reds sitting right around a 4.5 or right around a 5, run total. Cardinals on the other side sitting right around 4.5 runs. Both teams pretty high implied run totals here in Busch Stadium. Looking at the weather, temperatures in the upper 70s, low 80s. We got some slight wind blowing in. Not the greatest hitters park overall, but Brandon Williamson can get hit alone. And then Jake Woodford has looked absolutely horrendous. So these Reds have a pretty high implied run total. The only issue is these Reds have not been any good. But over the last 30 days, Christian Encarnacion Strand has been absolutely incredible. So I like him. Nick Martini's been pretty good. TJ Friedel has been very, very good. Will Benson's actually been very, very good. So I have a little interest in these Reds. I don't see these Reds getting a ton of ownership here. I mean, not really many people are going to go to them. So it's a bet on a bad pitcher against an offense here that doesn't have anything to play for, but who knows? Maybe these young kids, they're most of their lineup is young, goes out there and shows out. Do you have any interest here?
Yeah, and actually, I think the Reds do have something to play for. I think they're a game and a half, 2 games back of the wild card or 3 to go. I mean, it's unlikely to happen, but hey, you never know. Crazier things have happened. So with that being said, the Reds will be giving it their all. And I won't be playing them tonight, though, but they do have a lot to play for. I do like these Cardinals. The Cardinals are my low-owned stack of the night. I really like the righties, obviously facing Brandon Williamson. Give me Paul Goldschmidt batting in the 2-hole, Luke and Baker batting cleanup, Jordan Walker batting third. Very good price points, in my opinion. When you start talking about FanDuel, they're a little higher, or especially Goldie, a little higher on DK than I would like. But Luke and Baker, 2,400 on DK, Jordan Walker, 3,700, Tommy Edman, 4,000. They can make a lot fit over there with whatever expensive stack. Give me these Cardinals as my low-owned stack of the day. Really like 2, 3, and 4 for the Redbirds tonight against the Big Red Machine.
Yeah, we're opposite here because I actually like the other red team in this game, the Cincinnati Reds. Excuse me. I like the top 5 hitters: Martini, Encarnacion, Spencer Steer, Frito, Jonathan India, and then I like Will Benson down at the bottom. I like a wraparound stack here for the Reds. Again, they're not going to get any ownership here. They're still sitting around a 5 implied run total here. Nobody wants to go to them, so give me these. Give me the Reds here over the Twins. Give me the Reds over the Yankees. I like the Reds here quite a bit. And then Cardinals, yeah, you can always play Goldie. You can always play Jordan Walker, but they haven't been any good. Cardinals have been trash all season long. Just an absolute fall off the cliff performance by them this year. If you would have told me that the Cardinals wouldn't have been in contention for the NL Central at the start of the year, I would have told you you're nuts because they always are there. Just a blow up there for the Cardinals. But hey, it's Ham versus Nades. It won't be a Friday night show without one little friendly banter
You're
here.
a Brewers fan, man. We know you don't like the Cardinals. You're just shitting on the Cardinals all season long.
I'm just playing numbers. I'm playing numbers. I'm playing matchups. I'm just looking at what's in front of me here, and that's where I'm going. So little 1-2 punch. I'm 2-0 if I recall correctly against Ham. Let's make it 3-0 tonight. So we'll see. And I'll see you in the winner's circle. I'll be sending that Venmo request later this evening. All right, next game on the slate, we have the Athletics and the Angels, 2 absolutely horrendous offenses here. But you got Ken Waldichuk on the mound. You got Chase Silseth. Personally, I'm under on both sides of this game for bats. You can definitely make a case to play some of these value Oakland guys against the chalky Silseth, who wasn't very stretched out in his minor league starts coming back from that injury there. Before that injury, he was very good, right? 26% strikeout rate. Shea Langeliers, Jordan Diaz, Brent Rooker. Those guys make some sense. I won't be a show without mentioning Lawrence Butler there at just 2,200. But where are you going in this game?
Definitely not Lawrence Butler. I've lost a lot of money on him, thanks to you. But and we didn't really talk about him. So interested to see. You may not like him, but Ken Waldichuk, we didn't bring him up. But just looking at his numbers and facing this Angels team, do you have any interest in Waldichuk? Because I have no interest in either side of these bats.
Yeah, just looking at Waldichuk, his strikeouts is just falling off a cliff. Especially against lefties. But looking at this lineup, only 2 lefties projected to be in this lineup. 20% strikeout rate against righties over the last month. Limits hard contact, and limits fly balls. 50% ground ball pitcher. I don't think Waldichuk is the craziest play at just 7,200. If you want to pivot off that chalk range there, John Means is 7,400. He's a pivot off of John Means. Pivetta is 7,600. He's a pivot off of Pivetta there. And then Rodon is 7,100. You can give me $100 more and go up to Ken Waldichuk. And he's got the 3rd best strikeout matchup on the entire slate. So maybe a little bit more interest in Ken Waldichuk. Definitely no Angels for me. Oakland bats would be the only bats I would go to in this game. So,
hey, sorry to interrupt you again. Where does Waldichuk rank it? Is it in terms of ownership? Is he in top 5?
No, nobody's going to play Waldichuk on the slate.
Okay.
I'm seeing right around 5 to 7% ownership, something like that on the slate. And he gets a team that strikes out 28% against left-handed pitching. So I do have a little interest in Waldichuk the more I look at it here, just because of his price point. He's a pivot off of three pitchers that are all going to be the highest owned pitchers on the slate: Pivetta, Means, and Rodon. All 3 of those pitchers are going to be the 3 highest owned pitchers. Waldichuk's sandwiched between them all, so that's the reason nobody's going to them, and he could outscore all 3 of those guys, personally, in my opinion. So do have a little interest there. 3 games left here. We have the Astros heading out to Arizona to face Zach Gallen. I see some Zach Gallen talk quite a bit. You had some interest in Zach Gallen against these Astros here. Yordan, I always got to bring up Yordan. He's basically matchup proof here. He's got a 480 ISO against right-handed pitching on the season. The guy's just a complete stud. And then his other lefty partner right behind him, Kyle Tucker, can always play those 2 each and every slate. Personally, I'm a little bit under on the Astros here. I think the Arizona side makes a little bit more sense here against JP France. Arizona's got a pretty good lineup here. JP France has struggled, especially against lefties over the last month. Walk rate right around 18% in terms of walks against these lefties. Power ISO numbers sitting right around 300 to opposing lefties. Low ground balls, fly ball rates there, and you got some pretty good lefties in this lineup for Arizona. Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas is a value guy in there. Jace Peterson's another value guy down at the bottom. Perdoma's a switch hitter. So I don't hate some of these D-backs personally in this spot here. Implied to score right around 5 runs against JP France. Where are you going here?
Yeah, I like all the guys you said. I actually like Christian Walker as my favorite Diamondback. JP France striking out 10% of righties over the last 30 days. And Nate's hot off the press. The Giants will be playing without a manager tonight. They just fired Gabe Kepler. Just saw that come through. So no Gabe Kepler for the Giants tonight. He's the manager. They're in turmoil, and I know we're going to talk about the Dodgers bats because you and I both have some interest in our rankings over here at SHIPITNation.com. Really like the Dodgers as well, but sorry to get off on a tangent. Give me Christian Walker, give me Corbin Carroll, give me Ketel Marte, like these D-backs tonight against JP France.
Yeah, no, Astros definitely have stuff to play for. Jake Swales is saying they're going to be bounced out of the playoff picture by the end of the year, and could start here with the D-backs putting it to them here. So I think I like the Arizona quite a bit here in this spot. 2 games left. I have interest in one of the games for sure on one of the sides. No interest really in this one. Brian Wu on the mound, Nathan Eovaldi. If you made a case, I think the case would be on the Seattle side, just with the struggles that Eovaldi has had over since he's returned from that injury, right? High walk rate, strikeout rate below league average since he's returned. But prior to that, I mean, he was one of the best pitchers in the entire league. Any interest? Texas still has a very, very good roster, right? Adolis, Josh Young, Jonah Him, Mitch Garver, Corey Seager. I mean, you can play Corey Seager each and every slate. Marcus Semien, my boy Evan Carter. But these guys are pretty expensive, sitting right around a 3.7 implied run total. Brian Wu here, pitcher's ballpark. Wu's actually been pretty solid all season long. I'm out on bats in this one personally, but do you see something I'm missing?
Yeah, this is a tough game because this is going to be a highly contested game, a big series to end the season. The Mariners, the Rangers, and the Astros all vying for that West crown and the wild card. So with that being said, we like Eovaldi a little bit over here at SHIPIT Nation, so that would limit my exposure to the Mariners. And then you said it, Corey Seager has been absolutely dynamite all season long. I would have interest in Corey Seager. I would have interest in Adolis Garcia. That would be the only 2 I would have. And we talk about it. These Rangers are tough to stack just because of their price points. They have the big boy price tags on there. So I would only do it as a one-off or even a little mini because you can't full stack them and get good pitching and get another good stack. So no Mariners for me, and then Corey Seager or Adolis Garcia as a one-off.
Yeah, Corey Seager I think is the elite one-off on this slate. Brian Wu struggled against lefties. His strikeout rate falls off a cliff against lefties. I mean, below league average, and his walks rates go through the roof. 15.5% walk rate over the last month to lefties. Corey Seager doesn't take a lot of walks, but what he does do is hits a lot of home runs. So I like Corey Seager quite a bit. And Evan Carter. Evan Carter's got a 465 ISO against right-handed pitching over the last month. Stud prospect, tons of speed, tons of power. So I'm going right back to the well Friday night. Give me the little 9-2 stack, a little mini stack of these Rangers. Evan Carter, Corey Seager. You can book it. That's a nice little mini stack there. Middles that price down a little bit on Corey Seager with Evan Carter at 3,900 there. So I do like that mini stack. No Mariners for me on this game. I think Eovaldi could have a bounce back here at low ownership. And hey, like you named it, it's a big series, right? These Rangers need Eovaldi if they make this playoffs, and they need him to get right. So this is a perfect get right spot against a high strikeout prone Seattle Mariners team here in a pitcher's ballpark. Last game of the slate, we have the Dodgers out to San Fran. I see some comments about the wind blowing out in San Francisco. Yeah, the wind is blowing out, but the ballpark, again, we talk about it all the time, limits the wind factor in that game. Wind kind of circles above the stadium, doesn't really affect the play too much. So wind doesn't matter, but what does matter is these Dodgers, one of the best offenses in baseball, absolutely crushed in Coors Field. There is a little bit of a concern here, right? First game out of Coors Field here, but just fired the manager. That could either spiral this team into the dumps even further, or it could light a fire under these guys, and they could play out saying, hey, Gabe Kapler, you were the reason we sucked all year long. I think these Dodgers are a great offense. I think they're a good spot. I don't care that their first game out of Coors Field, which typically I do factor in. It's just the nature of the slate. It's the nature. Nobody's going to go to these Dodgers, right? They're not getting any ownership. You got Mookie, you got Freeman, you got Max Muncy, JD Martinez, James Outman. I mean, I've been a huge Outman fan all season long, especially over the last month. I mean, this guy's been ripping the cover off the baseball. He's just 4K. I like these Dodgers quite a bit here against Keaton Wynn and the rest of the bullpen behind him. Are you with me?
Yeah, no, love the Dodgers tonight. Yeah, you said everything that needed to be said. Not going to be owned in tournaments. Direct pivot off the Braves, off course, late night hammer. It's Friday night. It's the Dodgers. Let's roll, Nades.
And guess what? Everyone can slander us all they want talking about Jordan Lyles, and no Stanton, no Glaber in that, or DJ, excuse me, in that Yankees lineup. So I think that actually increases the Yankees ownership a little bit more when you take out a 3,300 guy there and a 3,900 guy who are both going to get a lot of ownership. Add in two cheaper guys. I think their ownership got up more, and that definitely makes me like Jordan Lyles a little bit more. He does lose a big strikeout bat there in Stanton, but he also loses the home run power against Stanton there. So definitely interesting there. That's all 13 games. We talk pitching. We talk game by game. We're sitting about the 50-minute mark, but we got the best segment here. We're sitting at 81 likes. So unfortunately, a little hurtful. I see some comments. Ham and AIDS is a treasure together. Toga, we appreciate you. Ross, we appreciate you dropping that in there in the chat. Aaron, we appreciate everyone in here. We the people, my guy. What's going on? Little hurtful. We didn't get
20 more likes. Let's go.
Little hurtful. We didn't get the likes home, but hey, let's jump into the segment, and I'm gonna kick it to you first. I have a feeling I know where you're going. Your low-owned pitcher call of the night. Let's run it back. If you ran the tapes last week, we had good calls. Let's do it again. Where are you going?
Yeah, low owned. I'm going to let you get the cheap guy. I'm going to go with my SP1. Joe Ryan, going to come in lower owned, in course. 5 or 6 innings, 8 or 9 Ks, 30 DK points. Sign me up. Let's go, Joe Ryan. Take us to the top of the leaderboards.
All right. Well, I thought you were going to go to Mr. Jordan Lyles there, but I'm actually going to go up to the top of the board as well. I do think Jordan Lyles, I think consensus cheap play for us was Jordan Lyles on the slate. I still think he's good. I still like him. At just 5,300, especially with that lineup for the Yankees. But I'm also going up to the top. I'm going to bet on talent here. I'm going to bet on a big series, big time matchup here. Pitcher's Ballpark. Eovaldi, Texas needs this guy to get it right after his injury for the playoffs here, this playoff push. It starts here tonight in Seattle. I think Eovaldi bounces back in a big way. Strikes a lot of these Mariners out. 5th best strikeout matchup on the board. 9,300, not going to get much ownership at all. I'm going to Eovaldi as a bounce back here. Home run call. I'll kick it over to you first. Where are you going? Home run.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about this one. I've been talking trash about this guy all season long. He came back to hurt me for about a week straight there. I'm going to sign off with my last show of the season. Go to my boy batting 5th tonight for my team, Nades, down in Hotlanta. Give me Marcell Ozuna to go yard tonight. Our Trevor Williams.
Wow, perfect. I thought you were taking my guy. But I'm going to another 5-hole hitter, 5-spot hitter, not cleanup. Hitting in the 5-hole tonight for the Kansas City Royals. Kauffman Stadium, Coors Field 2.0 against the Chalk Carlos Rodon. Nelson Velasquez, my boy, 4K hitting one deep off of Rodon here in Kauffman Stadium. That's going to do it. The last final regular season show of the MLB season. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, Ham. It's been an absolute pleasure for all of the people in here grinding the baseball streets with us, even in September when you got NFL, you got everything else going on. We appreciate everyone in here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Our MLB shows will probably be sporadic throughout the playoffs, depending on what schedule looks like. Obviously, NBA, NHL starting up pretty soon here. We'll still have you covered for each and every single slate at SHIPITNation.com. Again, let me throw this up one more time. $19. You can get a taste of all of our content over there, SHIPITNation.com. We have 6-month package. We have a year package. We have month package as well. $69 for a month, $6.99 for the year, or the $19 trial period here. Get you 5-day pass. You can test it out. You can see all the stuff we have available. Even the other sports that aren't live yet, we have the drop down showing you what's going to be available before you make a commitment. Our thought is we are the best, cheapest, most reliable all-in spot in the industry, but we understand there's plenty of other spots out there. We think we can be an add-on or your one-stop shop. So we appreciate everyone that's been with us. But that's going to do it. Good luck tonight in your contest. Happy Friday. Again, thank you guys so much for all the support all season long. For Hamwich, I'm Nades. We'll catch you guys next time. Let's ship it.